Hi, my name's Alan Whiteman, and today I am doing a real kind of video on the tools and mechanisms that I use when I create my text-oriented videos for YouTube. And today I'll be talking about the tool chain process in that, and that will be combined into yet again another text video that I'm creating that describes this process in somewhat more detail. So I'll be talking somewhat about how to do things with the tool sets, and other parts will be in the actual document itself. This is oriented towards people who are, well, new to being YouTube content creators, as I have been. You know, I've only been at this a few months now, in 2025. So I hope you do enjoy. And as we always say, and as a creator, do like, comment, subscribe, and share. See you later.
YouTube High School. Tutorial number 1, How I Create YouTube Text Videos. By Alan Lee Whiteman, July 2025. Tool chain, largely free software. 1 video editor, MS ClipChamp, or Adobe Premiere Elements. 2 PDF to PNG, PDF24 Toolbox. 3 text-to-speech, TTS, Balabolka. 4 document editor, MS Word or equivalent. 5 uploading with YouTube Studio. This initial tutorial is focused on creating a very simple 30-second long text video for uploading to YouTube. A video that has text, a graphic, audio, subtitles, also known as closed captions, and an end screen that will show links to other parts of a creator's YouTube channel. This assumes that the reader has computer skills, knows how to work with Microsoft Word 365 and various other tools like Windows 10 or 11, Explorer. I am calling the simple video, Hello World for YouTube, which is an adaptation of basic computer programming first program nominally called Hello World. Don't panic. You do not have to know programming or write any code here. But as background, this is a simple Hello World program written in the C programming language. The exercise is not about programming but in using tools and knowing the process. / Alan simple Hello World C program, */ Hashtag include int main, int argc, char argv. Printf, Hello World by Alan \n. So the above C language program has 5 lines of text, and when compiled and run, the program prints out, Hello World by Alan and terminates. My hope here is that as you do your version of Hello World for YouTube that you will find the process not all that difficult. You will have to find and download the Balabolka and PDF24 Toolkit program to your computer. So, the end goal is to upload to YouTube a video file Hello World YT.mp4 on your computer using the above cited tool set. And then complete YouTube Studio publishing so that you or a visitor to your channel can see a picture of yourself with a short blurb. So, we start this process in this order sequence. 1. Create Hello World YT.docs with Microsoft Word 365 or equivalent. 2. Create Hello World YT.pdf using Save as in MS Word. 3. Create several pages of Hello World YT1.png. Hello World YT4.png. 4. Create Hello World YT.mp3 with the Balabolka.exe program. 5. Create Hello World YT.mp4 with ClipChamp. 6. Upload Hello World YT.mp4 to YouTube and your channel. Step 1. Create your Word document. Actually, Step 0 is to create a working folder somewhere on your computer. For example, make a My Work folder in the C:/Documents folder. The spelling of the folder name is not critical, but it should be largely empty of content. You can preposition a JPG or PNG picture of yourself in the folder. Use MS Word 365 or an equivalent that can make a document that has both text and picture content. Run MS Word and type in something that looks like the content on the next page. Make up several pages with enough text content so that the conversion of text to speech produces an audio track of sound that covers 26 seconds. Hello YouTube World from Alan. By Alan Lee Whiteman. Alan in 1971. Corvallis, Oregon. About Alan: I was in graduate school with the Mathematics Department of Oregon State University for 2 years, 1969 to 1971, to obtain a master's degree in computer science. OSU is situated in the city of Corvallis, Oregon in the Willamette Valley. Corvallis is from the Latin language and means heart of the valley, so OSU is in the heart of the Willamette Valley on the eastern side of the Oregon Coast Range. There is a Wikipedia article about Corvallis which you can look at on your leisure. I am now retired from a career in software and hardware engineering. Lately I created a website, several Facebook pages, and 2 YouTube channels. This final page will be the hosting for the so-called end screen of the video seen on my 1947 generic YouTube channel. This is the last line of page 3 of this Hello YouTube World video.
So the first step here is to create a Word document that is about 3 or 4 pages long, and it's going to have some text. It's going to have a graphic image and a lot more text and some more text and a thing called text for a YouTube video end screen. And so here I have a copy of Microsoft Word up and running on my desktop, and I'm going to start editing into it this 3 or 4 page document. There's a copy of that document, hopefully, word for word, character for character, inside the text video that accompanies this moving pictures video. So the first thing I'm going to do here is start typing. So this is called Hello World. Or actually Hello YouTube. No, Hello World. YouTube. And you can see that my typing leaves a little bit more to desired. And as you look at this particular Word document page, it is oriented for 8.5 by 11 in width, but 6 inches in height. And the reason for this selection has to do with how I'm wanting this particular video to be seen on YouTube. This is an orientation I've taken with the bulk of my text videos. And as I've typed in here, Microsoft Word has auto-selected in its idea of what the character font type is supposed to be in here. Is Aptos body, and the font size is at 12 inches. Now I want this thing here to be a little bit larger than that. So I'm going to change the font. So I'm going to leave the font selection as it is, but I'm going to change the type to be something like how about 26-point font. And this will make the text a whole lot easier to read. Looks like a section heading of a sort. And note also that the text is left justified in the screen, and I want it to be centered. So I'm going to reselect it, go up to the Home menu selection, and at this point in time, the particular piece that I want to see is not there because this is not maximized. So I'm going to maximize it. Go back to Home, and here's the selection that says Center. And now you can see it's been centered. And I'm going to put a little bit more text immediately following it. So I'm doing Shift Enter. And I want to change the, I'll just type this right now, by Alan the White Man. Oops. And it's my desire that the font on this, which is at presently 26 font, be somewhat smaller. So I'm going to go over to here and change the font size down to 18 points. Now I could add more stuff, but at the moment what I want to do is insert a picture, and this is a picture from me from 1971. So I'm going to go up to Insert, Pictures. This device means this computer, this file system, and here I have 2 copies of my picture. This is me in my long hair days. This picture was taken by Marianne Carlson right before I got a haircut, before going off into the United States Air Force. So I'm going to select this smaller picture right now. It's the scaled down version of this much larger original picture, and do Insert. Annoying comments from Microsoft Word. Got it. It's really annoying. The little dots around the picture are for grabbing, and this allows you to do panning, warping, and rescaling, and so on. I'm not particularly interested in doing that right now. What I do want to do is work with this little thingy here that's going to go away shortly, and it's the selection for how does text wrap around this picture, and we're doing no real fancy wrapping, so I'm just going to select inline with text and close it out, and by clicking to the outside of the document, those little controls go away, and you can see the blinking cursor right here. That's where the next text insertion is going to go. So I'm going to do another Shift Enter and say I'm not going to add a caption. Alan in 1971. Corvallis, Oregon. And the whole intent is that this will be the first page that someone will see of the video. Real simple, just got some text on it. All this is text and a little piece of graphic. And when you do this yourself, of course, you're going to put your own picture there and some caption, maybe the place where you came from. It's strictly up to you what you can do. You can make this as fancy as or as simple and straightforward as you want. Now, since I do text videos that tend to be long, multiple page documents, I sometimes like to have what's called a header, a footer, and a page number. So to make this kind of simple, I'm going to go up to Insert, Header Selection. And then Microsoft Word gives me an option of how to do the header. I'm going to take the very simple one, and you see where it says type here. I'm going to say hello world for YouTube simple. And headers can go pretty much all the way across the page. You want to keep them at one line at a time, although Word does support doing multiple line headers and so on. The next thing is to do a trailer page, a trailer line. So you're going to go back to Insert, Footer. I should have said footer rather than trailer. Again, we have several options for what the trailer is going to look like. I'm going to click the very simple one, and I typically use the footer for the copyright statement. $2025 by Alan. All rights reserved. I'm going to note that I'm spacing out the cursor away from that. And the next thing, I'm doing this because the next thing we're going to do is do Insert again, Page number, and we're going to select the thing called Current Position, meaning current position of the cursor on the footer line. And it says again, what kind of format do we want the page number to be? I like this one down here called Accent Bar 2. And so we see page number right there. Now note that my insert cursor and typing cursor is inside the footer area of the page. That is, I'm outside of the content area of the document. And I can get back to there by moving the cursor back inside and then double clicking. And you'll, actually I need to go out here first, then back inside. So now you notice that the cursor, insert cursor, went back up there when it really ought to have been there after the word Oregon. So now I'm going to do second page. And Word, the way of doing that is Control Enter. Now you see second page pops up, and the cursor is in the centering page mechanism of typing. I'm going to do a lot of text on this page, and I want that text to be full width of page justified. So I'm going to go back up to Home, under Paragraph Mechanisms. I'm going to select Justify, and now the cursor gets moved back to the beginning of the line as I type, and there's a bunch of stuff. Now I'm going to attempt here in the creation of this little document to reflect as much as possible what I have in my larger tutorial document. So I'm going to go over to it right now because I have a copy of it. Excuse me. And here I have some commentary about Alan and so on. This is where you can put a blurb about yourself. And I suggest you make it at least 1 page long. The issue here is that we have to get an audio track time duration that exceeds or above 25 seconds for the whole thing. So what I'm going to do right now, so that I don't have to waste your time with my typing errors, is to select this piece of text under copy. And I'll go back to the document I was working in, and I do paste with a Control V. Bingo. And I didn't have to retype that. Now I want to do a page 3. So again, I do Control Enter. Again, this is a Microsoft Word way of doing things. It would be different from what other editor that you're using. Hard to say. And because I want to make this look like what's in the other tutorial, I'm going to go back to and find page 3. And I'm going to repeat the same little trick. Select, copy, and paste with Control V. And the issue here is that this last page is going to be ending up, hopefully, when we get into working with YouTube Studio, we're going to put the end screen picture links here. And so I've left a great big blank area where hopefully I can fit all those 2 or 3 pretty much fixed size things that YouTube Studio wants to generate. What's going to be there is going to things that look like pictures that a user could click on to either look at a next video in the sequence, look at the playlist in which this video is a part of, or a different playlist. Doesn't have to be the same. And there's also another thing that will be round, kind of like my picture over here, which will be the account picture that, when clicked on, provides an easy way for the viewer to subscribe to my channel, your channel, whatever. And so now I have a 3-page Word document in Microsoft Word. Notice that I've given a name to this little document. HW stands for Hello World, YouTube, and the docx rendition storage mechanism from Microsoft is a document that has both text and 1 or more pieces of picture content. Now, if this was just a straight text video, like the ones that I normally do, then I wouldn't have any pictures in it, so to speak, necessarily. In which case, I would have saved this as a .rtf for rich text format document. And having done all this stuff now, I go back up to File and do a Save As. Oops. Let's just do a save first. Then we'll do a File, Save As. And this time now, I'm wanting to save the file not as a Microsoft Word document, but as a PDF And you'll notice that over here in the save part, there's a little drop down menu selector here, and I go down and select PDF, and you can ignore this for right now and then do a save. And Microsoft Word tries to crank up a displayer of it. In this case, it has decided to crank up Copilot, which I do not like to have lying around. And this would normally be shown not by Copilot, but by Chrome browser or Adobe Acrobat, any one of the tools that knows how to display a PDF file. Again, notice that here's where the header line is, same as on the next page, same as every page. And of course, down here is the footer, where I put the copyright content and the page number. And of course, you see as we translate through this that the page number increments. And I've done this before, so I know that there's enough content here so that when all this text content gets turned into audio, that the amount of audio will exceed 25 seconds. And then that will allow me to make usage of the end screen in YouTube Studio, where the clickable links will be in this area right here. Okay, at this point in time, we don't really need the PDF displayer program, so I'm just make it go away. And I'm doing this work, by the way, in a folder called YT High School for YouTube High School. And just for funsies here, let's go take a look at that particular folder. And inside this folder, you can see we have a bunch of files. Some of them were there before I started this activity. Others were there as I've been doing this particular piece of work. So right now, this newer stuff here, HWYT doc and HYWT PDF are the things that we have just created as an example of a small thing that you can load up into your YouTube channel to learn how to use these tools. And the tools are, of course, Microsoft Word, Balabolka, PDF24, and ClipChamp. So I'm going to minimize this Microsoft Explorer display of things in my work area, YT High School. And at this point in time, I don't really need this stuff opened in Word anymore, because the next step that we're going to go off into is start extracting stuff out of this, not this file, but the PDF version of this file. And those extractions themselves will be provided as input documents, input media sources, materials for the ClipChamp program, which is Microsoft's nominally free video text editor. So I'm going to make this instance of Word go away. Now, what you're looking at here is a document that I created earlier today. And this is a typical, so to speak, text document that will be turned into a text video, like all the other text videos that I've done. With this minor exception, it's got a bit of static graphic in it. That static graphic picture of me. And of course, this video is a little bit different, and that's going to have moving picture content mixed in between elements of this apparent Word document, which will get turned into a text video. So, to kind of recap here, going back to this set of 6 steps, we've done step 1. We've created, well, yeah, I cheated. I didn't spell that file out the exact same way, but you understand what I'm talking about here. So this is, I've created Hello World YouTube.docx. I've created a PDF version of it. And our next step here is to go work with the PDF file, and we're going to use the PDF24 Toolkit program, which you have to download and install on your computer. And we're going to ask it to create 3 PNG files. Now, if you, in your case, if you want to have more than 3 because you're doing something a little bit more than just this tutorial, then you can have 4, 5, 6, 7, as many pages as you want. But we want to get to the point where we would get a PNG, or it could be in JPEG format, file for each individual page in the PDF document. And the reason we're going to do that is because that's the way ClipChamp wants to work. So let's go bring up PDF24, and we'll go about the process of extracting fixed image pages out of that PDF document. So for the moment here, I'm going to minimize this screen of Word. And I have down here on my taskbar a collection of program icons. And I'm going to click on PDF24. And at this point in time, I haven't told PDF4 what file I want to work with. And from the normally there would be a mechanism, and say the file stuff that would be up here to say go find the file I want to use. And at the moment, I've kind of forgotten how that particular part works. So I'm going to terminate PDF24. Go back and find the PDF file I want to work with. Right click on it. And you see it comes up with a menu selection for open with. And then I want to go down to PDF24 Toolbox. And you can see that it knows about the file that I would have gotten had I gone through, say, a file open mechanism. But the only thing we want from this, despite all of these features that are inside this big package, is this simple thing here in the middle called PDF to images. And so now it knows about the PDF file that I want to work with. And it gives me the option of how I want the images to be created from the pages in this document. Notice it just shows me the first page, doesn't bother showing all the pages here. So I like to use PNG. For some reason, PDF24 isn't allowing me to select for PNG, and I can't at the moment understand why. But JPEG will work. Now I picked gray here rather than color because my picture has no color content in it. If yours has color content, which makes sense, then you would pick color rather than gray. Gray is another way of saying black and white. And the issue here is that black and white makes for smaller video files is this issue. And so we've got selections on how I want to do things. And go over, hit the convert button, and you can see that it's doing stuff here. And it's now built 3 files for us. Notice that the file names are derived from the file name of the PDF file we're working with, where they have the file name, a dash, a digit number, and again the same file format. This becomes a bit of an issue later on when we start working with ClipChamp. It's done this conversion, but it hasn't put the converted files anywhere for us. And we have to go up to Save, and we click on that. Again, pops up another dialog box. And now we have to navigate to where we want these images to go. And we start this with this PC. Now, my work area is different from where I've suggested you do your work area. I've suggested that you use stuff in the documents. Mine is somewhere else, and I happen to know that it's a bit far away from me, the C drive. Here's YouTube High School. That's my work folder. And you didn't see it happen, but it saved all those 3 files inside that folder, inside another folder in that folder. And it did it real quick. And it didn't even tell you that it did it real quick. You just have to know that it did it real quick. Now I'm going to, just for funsies here, minimize the PDF24's display screen. And here you find a new folder that just popped up. And it's named in part from the PDF file it came from. And this might confuse you into thinking that this is a PDF file, but it's not, it's a folder. Now, I don't care for PDF24's way of doing things in this respect, so I'm going to rename this as Files. And if we peek into this renamed folder, we see the 3 files that correspond to the pages in the initial PDF document. Okay, so we've got 3 JPEG files to pass into. Actually, was that JPEG? Yeah, it's still JPEG. We have 3 JPEG fixed image pictures to insert into what would be called the timeline of the ClipChamp video. Now I know there's a lot of terms I'm throwing around here. Hang in there. The next thing we want to get is an audio file to pass into ClipChamp, and we get that from the text.
Step 2. Create Hello World YT.pdf save as in MS Word. The next step is to save your Word document in the .docs format as the document contains graphic content. Then do a second save as selecting the PDF format. The issue here is to create a PDF file that will be examined by PDF24 Toolkit with the aim of turning the document into a collection of PNG files, one PNG file per page of the PDF document. Step 3. Create Hello World YT.png or JPEG files. In MS Windows there are several ways to start this process. First, you must have the PDF24 Toolkit program installed on your computer. You can have a program icon link on your desktop or access it from the Start menu. I have my copy associated with PDF files, so I normally just find the Hello World YT.pdf file with Explorer, right-click on the file, and select Open with PDF24 Toolkit. The PDF24 Toolkit, or box, is really a collection of PDF processing features, and the only one we are interested in is the PDF to Images service. Click on PDF to Images and that will start up the conversion program. Convert the PDF file to PNG or JPG images. You can use the color selection if your picture has color content, otherwise use the gray for black and white image content. PDF24 will do some processing work, make updates to its display page, and ask what you want to do next. Select the Save As step. PDF24 will present a pop-up dialog box asking you where you want to have the images placed. You will have to navigate to the work folder you are using. PDF24 will make a new folder in that folder and deposit the 3 or more pages of your work in separate PNG or JPG files as selected. PDF24 is not smart enough to know to put your files in the same folder that contains the PDF file you selected. So, be sure to navigate properly. The Save As step is very fast. Terminate the program and go find the created PNG or JPEG files. These files will be passed into ClipChamp. Step 4. Create Hello World YT.mp3, the TDS audio file. The next step is to go back to the Word document and pass its content into the Balabolka program to make a new MP3 audio file from the text content of the Word document. You can manually run balabolka.exe or use Explorer to find the Hello World ty.docs file, right-click on it, and select Open with Balabolka. This will run the program and auto-load the text content extracted from the Word document. Otherwise run the program manually and use the File Open mechanism to find the .docs file, read, and extract the text content into a work area. The Balabolka work area looks like a text editor where you can fix spelling errors and delete out parts of the text that are not to be included in the audio for the text video. In this example, erase the text of the URL path name to the Wikipedia article. From the File menu, select the Save Audio File action. This will cause Balabolka to do text-to-speech creation and save the audio in an MP3 file. You can play the audio file with Windows Media Player and assure yourself that the playtime covers 25 seconds. This is all about getting set up for using the YouTube end screen feature for the video file. You may have to iterate on the above steps to get the audio playtime to be above 25 seconds, if you want to do end screen work in YouTube Studio.
Here. And we take that text into the Balabolka program, which will convert the text into MP3 formatted audio file. And we like MP3 in this particular world here. So, as I did with PDF24, I'm going to cheat. Right-click on that file. Notice I'm doing that file, not the PDF. but it turns out that I believe Balabolka can actually read PDF itself. So we do open with, and lo and behold, Balabolka is not there in the search list. Bummer. So here we have in the taskbar an icon for Balabolka. I'll bring up a copy of it. And like many programs in the Microsoft world era of things, there's a menu bar here of things that can be done. File is pretty much always the very first menu item, and so does edit, and the rest tend to be specific to the nature of the program, with help being the very last thing. And so I'm going to go to File, Open. And it decides to go to its installation place for the open as the first spot, rather than my work area. So again, I have to play the stupid Windows game of constantly doing lookups through editor, through Explorer. Here we get back to YouTube High School, and here's the file that I wanted to do the right click on. So I'll click it, that'll open it, and as you can see, by the way, I'm having to do this non-maximizing because there's stuff on the left-hand side of the screen that you can't see that's in the way of my selection capabilities. So here we have, this is the work area, so to speak, of Balabolka, and it looks like a text editor's work area. Now, I have a piece of this document that has the spelled out edition of a URL. In this case, this is a link to a Wikipedia article for the city of Corvallis, Oregon. Now, I don't want to have this thing spelled out. It's tedious, annoying, and just crap. So I'm going to say there is a Wikipedia article about Corvallis, which you can look up on your lever. So I'm going to select this little piece of text here, and delete it. Leaving the longer sentence saying there's a Wikipedia article about Corvallis which you can look at on your leisure. And we'll leave the on page 3 here. It should be on page 2 somewhere, but I don't see it at the moment. We'll just, yeah, forget about that. But what I'm going to do now is convert all this stuff into audio, so-called text to speech, often identified by letters TTS. And Balabolka is a derivative program of Microsoft's Speech API, Applications Programming Interface. And Microsoft has provided what are called voices, V-O-I-C-E-S. And some of them are male voices, some of them are female voices. Unfortunately, the selection range for voices is a bit limited. But for here, as I'm doing with the other text document, I'm going to select the Microsoft David voice. Now here it's called Microsoft David Desktop. No big deal. And so that when I go up to, again, File and Save Audio File, Balabolka will convert all that text into English audio, kept as an MP3 file format. And Balabolka's first answer is, okay, where do I want to put this thing? And for some stupid reason, it decides it wants to use WAV format and not MP3. I'm a bit annoyed about this right now. In any case, there is supposed to be a, oops, excuse me. Here it is. That drop down there allows me to pick the MP3 format rather than WAV format. And the issue here is that ClipChamp would prefer, I think, to work with MP3 files rather than other formatted audio files. And notice that it now says it's going to call this thing, that file name, .mp3. It's in the MP3 file format. Now I do is save. And I don't know why Balabolka is doing this stuff. There's also something going on with my computer here right now where the sound it created came back in and got reused and re-emitted, and so he had two dings there. I'm going to have to do something that probably involves turning off my webcam video here so that the webcam doesn't pick up the speaker output as input. Very annoying. Just for funsies here, we're going to go over to the work area, and there's the audio file. Okay, so I don't need Balabolka anymore, and to make things nicer and cleaner, we're going to go down to File, manually close. It's going to ask us, do I want to save the changes I made? And the answer is no. Empties the work area screen. Now I'm going to go down, click exit, and make the Balabolka program go away. So to review, we now have an MP3 file. We have some JPEG files. By the way, you don't necessarily have to keep the JPEG files in this subfolder here. We could go into the subfolder and cut and paste them up into here, and then make the subfolder go away, and that really produce the same thing for us. It's really a question of how do you want to organize your stuff. So we've got an MP3 file, 3 image files, fixed image files, and that's all we need to go into ClipChamp now and make a video. So let's go back and review again some of these steps here. We created a document file, a picture. We converted it into a PDF. We converted the PDF into a bunch of image files. For some stupid reason, I couldn't get PNG rather than JPEG. We created a MP3 file, which is the audio part. And now it's time to go and do what really amounts to be the, well, to put it, the grunt work of this particular process. That is, we're now going to go off and work with ClipChamp. And ClipChamp will finally produce for us an MP4 file, which will be the video file of this little 3-page document. And it'll have some audio in it. It'll have some video in it, but the video will be still pictures. and then later on we'll upload that file to a YouTube channel, and then we'll do things like add closed captions to the video. Now, ClipChamp, newer versions of it, by the way, the version I use is not the enhanced version or upgrade version. There's some attempt on their part to allow AI services to do audio to text. That is the inverse of what Balabolka did. I've had very little good success with that process. The thing often hangs on me. It's a problem that I just soon ignore. I just soon let YouTube Studios do the conversion of the audio that comes with the video and convert it to subtitles. Much easier. So let's minimize this. Let's minimize the Explorer view of the work area. And now I want to bring up ClipChamp. Now I have a link of it down here in my taskbar. And I activate it. And notice that ClipChamp got launched on my desktop here, but it was not maximized. It's somewhere between maximized and minimized. And unfortunately, in this sort of view of the thing here, you can't see all of the selection controls that we have to get to. Now, I've been using ClipChamp for months now, and I have a ton of projects which we're going to see here, but I think I'm going to try and avoid showing you all that stuff by create a new video from scratch. And now we're inside of what's called the ClipChamp editor. And because we really do need this thing to be full screen now, I'm going to do that. Well, let's continue here. Okay, there's several parts to this screen of the program that we see. Notice little control over here. It says collapse this toolbar. Right now it has the focus of a thing called media. And we have to load media into ClipChamp before ClipChamp can do much of anything. So I'm going to select the import media. Oh, first off, notice there's the area up here. Right now ClipChamp doesn't know what we want to call this thing, so I'm going to call it Hello World YouTube. I'm not going to spell out YouTube all the way. And at the end, I do hit the return button to sort of lock in that text. It's a good idea to get this thing set before you do much anything else, particularly going through export up here. And so now we're going to import some media to work with. And again, ClipChamp wasn't smart enough to open up in my work area. So I have to play the Microsoft Windows game again of navigating the file system. As an aside, in the Unix operating system world, where we could have done a current working directory. This would have all been automated for us. Windows isn't smart enough to do current working directory correctly. When I get back to YouTube High School. So we want to, first off, get the audio file. And this thing you see over here, I'm not going to try and move the cursor over to it, because if I do that right now, something noisy is going to happen. I want to avoid this issue. I'm going to try and fix this later on. The next thing we want to do, but by the way, this little thing here to the left is a pictorial representation of an audio file. It's kind of silly looking. Just know that it's there. Next thing when I get are all those 3 JPEG images. So go back to Import Media. Go into the Files folder. And now I can select all images all at once. And I did that by Shift. That is that. Let me go back to this again. Select the first one. Hold down the right Shift key with my left finger. And then close by is the little collection of arrows. And I do the down arrow press twice to add in page 2 and page 3 into this selection of files. Then go down to open. You know, maybe open ought to be spelled import. And so here, if we look back in our media folder, we have again the audio file to the left and the 3 picture files. Now in this case, I've chosen the name of the input file to be short enough so that as you see it in this listing here, it also has the page number ordering. Notice this thing up here where it says sort. You can select the down sort button on name. And so this makes going from the bottom up, page 1, page 2, page 3, and so on. At this point in time, because there's a bug on the way my webcam is working with ClipChamp, I'm going to temporarily suspend this Loom screen capture session, and then I'm going to well, I take it back. Let's see if we can get this to work. Ooh, it worked. Okay. Let's talk about what we're looking at here in this screen display of the ClipChamp program. Again, over on the left here, we have a collection of views that can be seen in this panel right here. Notice the bar up here, it says your media. I'm looking at the media version, media view of this panel. I can make the panel go away temporarily by doing that. or I can click on media and it'll come back again. Now there are various different versions of the ClipChamp for how this works. You just have to kind of live with and play with it here, okay? Nevertheless, this is the main work area of ClipChamp. And the big black box here at the moment, this is where ClipChamp's presentation of what the video is going to look like will appear once we do the play button. Right now there's nothing to show, so it's black. No big deal. Down here is what's called the timeline. This is a semi-generic term in the industry of video editing. It's not specific to ClipChamp, but just understand that timeline is the place where all the real work gets done. And the timeline is divided up into several different sections. This section right here is the audio track of the timeline. And as you can kind of look at it, it's a pseudo audio wave format presentation of the audio. Above that is the thing. This is right here. It's called the video track. And this is where we're going to put the three little images. And the first image I want to load is this guy. And notice there's this little plus thing. I can click on it. And see this little thing right here? ClipChamp is looking at the audio, the piece of video added to figure out what its size dimensions are. And it takes a while to kind of look through the PNG to figure out, oh, it's oriented towards 8.5 by 6 versus 8.5 by 11. This little box here, enclosed in blue, is a representation of the image that's been loaded into the image portion of the timeline. This thing here with the black thing, sometimes you'll see it as white. By the way, I think ClipChamp also has a dark mode. Okay, in many cases I see this as being a white line. In that case, this was kind of a visual indication of, you might say, the current time instance cursor. Now I have 3 pages. The first page has a little bit of text on it, and that text got converted to audio. But as I look down here, get this out of the way, I can't tell from looking at these little lines where the audio that goes with this page ends, because this is the complete audio track. And you might think that maybe this piece here belongs to page 1 and most of it's page 2, and then the very last is, it looks like it's about page 3 over there. And so the trick that we have to go through is to search for where in the audio timeline is the last piece of audio that corresponds with the last piece of text on this page. Now, to make things easier, I'm going to stretch the representation of this page. As you see now, it pops up in the display window. And I'm going to play it. And as I listen to the audio that comes out, excuse me, my phone is deciding to tell me about things that I'm not particularly interested in responding to right now. If I don't, it will continue to ding at me. Now, the problem that's facing me here at the moment is there's an issue between ClipChamp and the Loom screen recorder that I'm using right now to record this video. And if I try and play this, ClipChamp will, of course, produce audio coming out of the speakers of the computer. And unfortunately, the Loom's, the webcam that's on top of my monitor here, which has a microphone, will pick up that audio and think that it's part of audio to stick back into the video. And we'll get this big crappy echo thing going. And at the moment, I don't really know how to fix that problem. So what I'm going to do here is, well, cheat for a little bit, okay? I'm going to guesstimate right now in advance of suspending Loom temporarily while I actually do this editing offline. And we'll come back to where all these things are lined up correctly. Nevertheless, I've added, say the first page here. And I'm going to add in page 2. Well, that's annoying. It wasn't supposed to go there, it was supposed to go down here. And here's page 2 stuff, which I think is the bulk of this audio track. And then I'm going to add in page 3. And again, it didn't go where I wanted it. And because I know this is the last page, it's going to line up with the end of the audio. You notice there was this vertical red line here. The red line is a ClipChamp thingy saying, okay, Alan, you've aligned the end of the display of this particular page relative to the timeline that matches the end of the audio track. Now, as you look at the stuff here, you see copies of what appears to be, or replicated copies of the page that's been selected. What I'm doing here is telling ClipChamp, as the video is played, as the cursor here traverses from the start of the audio, actually through the start of the video itself, but really the audio portion, for a period of time, I want this page to be displayed. And when that period of time has ended, I want to transition from page 1 to page 2. And I want page 2 to be held present and constant in the display window when the video is viewed for a period of time, for a period of playing the video until the time cursors, so to speak, gets to the very last piece of word. In this case, it's the word channels. You can see I'm pointing out where channels is in the display. And then after that, I want the video to switch to the next page. This happens to be the final page. And there's just a little bit of text here. And it's so little that it might squeak by in the space of just several seconds. In any case, when it's done, it reaches the end and it's going to stop. What's special about this particular arrangement is that this last page has a bunch of empty space. And even though I put a piece of text down here, when we get to up working with YouTube Studio Editor, we're going to put some other pictures here that are called in-screen clickable links. And one of them will be for the next video in the series to be looked at. Another will be for, here's a playlist to look at if you want to find more videos like this in the playlist that it belongs to, or it could be a different playlist altogether, really. And there'll be another little thing, it'll be in a round button that when clicked will auto subscribe the user to my channel. And this is really important because the whole idea behind doing your own YouTube channel is to produce revenue, mostly. But people do that to produce revenue, and people can't do that until they have people who are subscribed to their channel. It has to be like 800, 1,000, something like that, before YouTube will go into the monetization algorithm way of doing things. So, right now, side about ClipChamp. ClipChamp is hooked up automatically to Microsoft's OneDrive. And you haven't seen it do it, but throughout all of my little moving the cursor around here, ClipChamp has been effectively doing project save activity in the background to where all this is backed up on Microsoft OneDrive account. You can't see it easily. You don't need to. You can think of it just being saved here on your computer, and to a degree that's the case, but the real thing is he's backing things up to OneDrive. So consequently, there's no menu selection up here at the top of the screen like there are in other Windows programs for file, edit, and blah, 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 help, and so on. So there's no file save mechanism. Likewise, there's no exit. Now, the other sort of important thing here is there's this button called export, and we're going to do that a little bit later after I've gone offline and what I call restitching this, so that these time duration views of the fixed image matches the piece of stuff in the audio track that I want it to match up with. And once that's done, we'll go off and do the export, and we'll get an MP4 file out of that, then we'll upload that to YouTube. So for right now, what I'm going to do is minimize my instance of ClipChamp. And while you can't see it on the screen here, because this is the way the Loom, L-O-O-M, screen recorder works, there's a picture of me down here in the corner, and you can't see it, but over here where the cursor is, maybe you can see the cursor change shape, I don't know. There's a little control panel for Loom, and I'm going to press the 2 vertical bars symbol on it, which means pause the recording. And when I do that, this is going to go away, and then later come back, I'll do a resume. And when that happens, the ClipChamp portion should be fixed up and working correctly. See you.
Step 5. Create Hello World YT.mp4 using ClipChamp. You can terminate PDF24 Toolkit or Balabolka if they are still running. Now manually run MS Windows ClipChamp. Make up a folder for doing the Hello World YT video or videos. Start a new, first, video in the created folder page and get into the ClipChamp editor. Import the MP3 file from Balabolka and the 3 or more PNG or JPEG files from PDF24 and begin my so-called stitching work. Stitching involves loading the timeline with the MP3 audio track, then successively in line adding the PNG image files to the timeline so that the page image content is held visible in the video file for the duration of the text-to-speech audio content. This is where the real work starts. You can preview the created video and make corrections as needed. When you are satisfied with the audio-to-image stitching alignment, then select the export feature, a button, pick the 480p or 720p image quality selections. ClipChamp with then start a background process that creates the Hello World YT.mp4 file in the computer's download folder. When the conversion is completed, use Explorer to copy or, cut and paste, the created MP4 file into your work folder. View the MP4 contents with Media Player. Then get ready to upload the MP4 file to your YouTube channel.
Hi, back. I've done my ClipChamp fixings without having Loom or the speaker problem pop up. And as you can see here, this is my kitty Flower. She is 8 years old, female. She loves to bring in little creatures from the outside, such as birds, lizards, sometimes flighty things, but it's the lizards that are the issue. And what she does is she brings them into my bedroom, nominally speaking, or the walk-in bathroom, and she lets them go and she plays with them. And plays is it's a euphemism for saying she torments them until they die or they escape, which is what normally happens. So the lizard will find a place to get to that she can't get to, and then she'll give up and go away, and then I have a lizard on the loose in the house. And she wants to be involved in pretty much everything going on, and she wants to be the center of attention. But we can't do that right now. So I'm going to put her on the other side of the door here and close it. So let's restore ClipChamp onto the desktop, and if you'll do some visual comparison, you'll see that this area here has been slightly rearranged, and to kind of let you know what this thing means. Again, this is the timeline. Together it's the timeline. This is the video portion of the timeline. This is the audio portion of the timeline. And what this says is that this picture here, being page 1, is to be displayed when the video is being viewed or played for a period of approximately 6 seconds. Page 2 is displayed from 6 seconds up to about 15 minus 6 seconds. And then the last word in that again is the word channels. And we'll have a transition. Then we'll go into the very last page. This is a short thing, and this is the one that'll be called the end screen page. Now I could again, take the time cursor back to the beginning. I could press this play button, but because of the way things are set up with the webcam microphone, we would get echo reflections between everything, and it'd just be an annoying mess. So I can't really do that for you right now, but you'll have to experiment with this on your own. Just make sure that if you have a webcam, you don't have the audio part of it turned on at the same time. Otherwise, you'll experience the problems that I'm experiencing right now. But we are ready at this point in time to click this button up here called Export. So I'm going to do that. And you'll notice that ClipChamp pops up another, technically speaking, this is called a dialog box in Windows terminology. But ClipChamp's given us the option of how do I want to have the video created and what sort of quality. And they use these terms here, 480p, P for progressive versus I for interlaced. This is nice for drafts. It's quicker. If you have a lot of text, the text will be blurry in places. 720 is the next step up. It has nice rendition of text and graphics and so on. It's a small thing, but it's not, you know, super detailed. Okay. If the video came in had better quality, then we could do 1080p or even 4K. Now notice the comment just says, Alan, your video has no 4K media, therefore it doesn't make sense to do that. I have been using 720 with very, very good success and expectation out of it. So we click on that, and you'll notice there's this thing over here, this line with a progress bar, and what this is saying is that ClipChamp has taken my little 3-page thingy here, converted it into an MP4 audio file, and here's the name it gave to it. And that audio file is in the Downloads folder on my Windows computer. There's also a thing over here that says Save to Computer. It's kind of a misnomer because I can copy it from the Downloads folder to where I want it to be manually rather than use this thing. Again, this is a Microsoft product, and so it's oriented towards Microsoft's way of doing things, and I don't use OneDrive. Now they have other facilities here for save the audio to your Google Drive. I've never used this feature, so I'm not going to do it. They talk about a way of uploading to YouTube. I don't really care for their mechanism. I don't use TikTok, and I don't use Dropbox. So my view of things, this whole area, if I had a way of configuring it out of existence, I would do so. It's noise to me. So at this point in time, I don't need ClipChamp anymore in this step process. So I'm going to terminate ClipChamp and get back to desktop. Let's go look in the Downloads folder. And this is the file that ClipChamp just made. Again, you see it's the MP4 files. For right now, you could ignore these other 2 files right here. You know, think they're not there. So I'm going to move this file from where it is to my work folder. So I'm going to do a cut and paste operation. And now we play the Windows game again, getting back to the current working directory that we want things to be in. I know this is really annoying, but here's the working directory. Now do right click, so it pops up this thingy right here, and I do paste. And because my folder is inside of one of my network drives that's attached to my Wi-Fi router, the router tells the drive to spin down when it's not being used, and when I go back to it, it has to respin it back up, and then it makes the copy done. So let's go back and review the whole step process. Earlier in this little process, I used Microsoft Word to create a document. I saved it as a PDF file. I used PDF24 Toolkit to convert PDF to individual images. I used Balabolka to convert the text into audio as an MP3. I combined the MP3 and the text images with ClipChamp and produced an MP4 file. And now we're ready to upload this to my YouTube channel. Now for you, if you're doing this for the very first time and you haven't really established or even created the channel, then you're sort of faced with uploading and creating all at the same instant time. I would suggest you to first go create the channel, even though it's empty. Well, it's not completely empty. You're probably going to have a background picture, a picture of yourself. You won't have any playlists. You might have created a post. That's possible. But if you don't have any, if you haven't done this kind of work before, then you really haven't gotten around to creating a real video. Now, it's possible that you could have a video of yourself that is without audio to it. It may be a short video clip that you made with your cell phone, and you managed to get that video clip off of your cell phone into your computer, or you got to YouTube on your cell phone and you uploaded the video directly, or you managed to connect your cell phone to your computer via a specialized USB cable, and you pulled the video off of the cell phone onto a place in your computer. Hopefully it's in MP4 format, or a format that YouTube cares to use. And then you did the way that I do it in the normal case. Now, I do not use my cell phone for recording YouTube videos. Well, at least yet. So let's minimize this thing. I'll leave this here for right now. No, for funsies. Let's copy my video. To a place on my computer itself where I had suggested that you put your work folder. But for right now, I'm just going to put it here. Okay? Now I could play the video right now as a pre-step before uploading it to YouTube. But because I'm creating this content right now with Loom or any other screen recorder, if I play it, of course the audio will come out on the monitor speakers. And we have this little annoying problem of Loom's picking up the waveforms coming through the air as its microphone, and it'll of course replay it, and we get this echo crap, and that's just completely annoying. So I'm not going to do that right now, but you should do that on your own. Make sure that before uploading the video to YouTube, it looks the way that you want and that you're happy with it. So I'm going to go back to my other folder here and delete this version of Explorer. And this is the guy that we want to upload to YouTube. And the way that you start doing that is bringing up a copy of Google as a browser.
Step 6. Upload Hello World YT.mp4 to YouTube. Bring up YouTube in a browser like Chrome. If you have not already created your channel, find the plus create selection near the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This will get you into YouTube Studio, which will present a dialog box screen asking you to drag and drop the MP4 video file or use an Explorer navigation mechanism to identify the MP4 file to be uploaded. Follow the instructions in the video portion of this tutorial.
Now notice that Google and this Microsoft Windows login account context already knows about me as having a Google account. And of course, YouTube things are part of Google accounts. And normally I would have a menu bar item here for selecting YouTube. I'm trying to do this as, full thing as possible. So, YouTube. And of course, this is Google's looking at YouTube, so I click YouTube here. And of course, what we're seeing here is stuff that you would see in basically what's called the YouTube feed. And there are videos here. I can change the resolution to get more things on the page. Of course, YouTube has the concept of regular videos such as these things. YouTube has the concept of things that are called shorts. Now, a short is a special kind of a YouTube video that's limited up to 3 minutes maximum. I'm not talking about shorts today, although this thing I've got almost qualifies as short. Short also has to have a certain kind of aspect ratio construction, and the 8.5 by 6 inches orientation doesn't fit this shorts format, even though it's short enough in terms of time duration displayed to have otherwise been as short. Notice up here in the corner there's the plus create button, and if you've already created your channel, you know what that means. There's a notifications area, and there's a picture that relates to the account you're in. Now I have 2 YouTube channels, and I've associated each channel with a different, shall we say, avatar picture. So I'm going to click on the picture, get this pop-up, and we go down to switch accounts, and you can see that I have 2 accounts that YouTube knows about. My primary focus in all this has been about my stories of Atlantis, but that's not part of this tutorial right now. This is what I'm calling my 1947 generic channel. This is where I put stuff that's not stories of Atlantis oriented. So I'm going to click on that one. That takes me over to the place that I want to upload things from. And upload video. I don't want to close this out right now because it'll make things, well, right now what YouTube's, we're actually inside YouTube Studio, and you can see that over here in the background. And this dialog box is a way of saying, okay, Alan, what file do you want to upload? I could do a drag and drop where I have it on the desktop somewhere. I don't. But there's a select files option here. And that brings up an Explorer way of doing things. And I know that I put it into the documents folder. And so I select the YouTube file we just made, and I do an open. I should have said upload. And now it has uploaded this very, very short file. And this is a temporary way of doing things. We're now in a portion of the YouTube Studio editor. By the way, you can see there's a scroll bar over here. A lot of things are going on in the background. Here's the first page of the little video that I just made. And now YouTube Studio wants to know things about the thing that I just uploaded. And they can do it in 2 ways. There's a thing called title. And notice over here in the bottom right-hand corner of this little editing window, it says 12 out of 100. So I can type up to 100 characters of text. I've typed, there's already 12 there. I just can't go over 100. And what this is supposed to be is a short title that identifies the video in question. So I'm going to go do some editing. Hello world. Tube. Very short. Short and sweet. I used 19 characters out of 100. Now, of course, that's not enough to kind of describe what's inside this thing, but now I've got a description box. And that, again, as with the first bot, it had a limit. Only here the limit is 5,000 characters. You can put a lot of stuff in here, and I haven't typed in. The 0 means I haven't typed anything yet. So here is my 3-page hello world YouTube text video used in my some larger tutorial which I misspelled, but I can correct it, on how I create text videos. And I could do a whole lot more stuff here. So this 3-page video, text video, has text picture graphic. And more text. And space for an in-screen. On the last page. Now I'm also allowed to include hashtags, hashtag terms. And I'm going to do hello world. And as I type, you can see YouTube Studios playing up things that sound like the thing I'm typing. I find that to be extremely annoying, but that's the nature of the territory. So hello world tutorial. And I'll just do that for right now. Notice there's this thing up here. This is sort of like a timeline of activity and uploading a video. We're still on what's called the detailed step. We haven't gotten to video elements. That's where end screens go. Checks has to do with looking for copyright issues, and visibility we'll get into when we get to that point. YouTube Studio allows for 3 different kinds of doing things. There's private videos. There are things that are public videos, and a thing in between, which I'll talk about in a minute. This area right here is we need to have what's called a thumbnail for it. I generally like to pick the very first page. So let's select auto-generated, and it'll show it with 3 pages. Of course, I picked 3. I'm going to pick first page by clicking on it, and doing done, and that's the thumbnail for my video. Playlist. I have to put it somewhere, and lo and behold, I've created a playlist called YouTube High for YouTube High School. So I select that. Done. Audience. It's possible in your account setup to preload a whole bunch of these attribute selections. One of them is, are you making a video for kids, or are you making for basically adults? You know, adults going to have more adult content that kids aren't supposed to see. So I never make videos for kids, so that's why you're going to see, for me, this be this way. If you're doing videos for kids, then you can select that guy. There's a section called age restrictions. There's a show more button here. This is kind of a misnomer in my way of viewing things. So I'm going to click that button, and then there's a whole bunch of attributes that can go with the video here. Now, since this is just a tutorial really on how to create short videos, I'm not going to go into what all these things mean. But YouTube wants to know if I'm using AI to create this. The answer is no, I'm not using AI. Now I do other things that are AI generated, for example, in Notebook LM. That's not all AI, and in which case I have to be careful about whether I use that button or this button. Now if I had a text video that had maybe over 20 pages, maybe 40 pages inside of it, then, conceptually speaking, there are areas of the video that are basically chapters. Okay, well, this thing is so short that it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to deselect all these by default selections. And what these things really do is allow YouTube to put up content on top of your video that helps a viewer go look at other stuff, potentially. You can also do different kinds of tags, tags that, for example, didn't work here very well. You might have the misspelling of a tag. You could add the misspelling here, for example. Yeah, this is American English. I just selected English, but there are various versions of English that you could select. I've also said that this content has never appeared on television. I'm going to select recording date today. I live in Texas. More to the point, I live in the lower portion of Texas Hill Country. I'm not bothered so much about different licensings. I'm going to allow someone else to incorporate my video in their video. And I'm sort of set up for putting this in the category of people in blogs. There are other categories here that I could potentially use. Again, this has more to do with how you're going to go about marketing yourself via YouTube. But I do want to have comments and other things. Now notice over here on the right, there's again the picture. Again, I could play this video right now, but we would run into these problems with the microphone again. I don't want to do that. But this is interesting here. This bunch of characters is a URL, Universal Resource Locator, text string of where in the YouTube system this little video resides. And it's really kind of there. And again, it's commentary that came from this file on my computer that I uploaded. So now we go to next. So I have a video here. It's got audio in it. It'd be nice to have closed captions, right? So that's another way of saying subtitles. So let's go help YouTube create subtitles for this video. And just kind of this little thing we're saying here, this stuff here is stuff you can look at and select. I don't think you need to worry about that. Again, this is a representation of the video itself. This down here is about the audio. And again, you can see the little music notes symbol identifies this as being audio versus that. You could type in all the subtitles you want manually. This stuff down here is again another crack at an audio waveform depiction. And in the normal ways of doing things, I would now click this play button. And what that would cause YouTube Studio to do is to advance this time cursor through all the audio waveforms, and it would then do its version of speech to text, STT. versus text to speech. And it would take all of the audio portion of the video, the stuff you see here in text, and it would convert it back to text as subtitles. Now, I don't want to have to go back and undo Loom again to avoid this issue with the echoing going on, so I'm not going to do that. Now, I have observed that YouTube Studio at times will auto on itself automatically do the subtitle work for you. I've been very suspicious about that. In any case, there's the thing about save draft. That's most of this thing over here. I'm just going to click done. Actually, that's really grayed out. You can't tell that from there, but these two things are actually grayed out. So I'm just going to do close right now. But lo and behold, look at this. English by YouTube, automatic. No, I don't want to delete it. So it looks like, as I was talking about this process to you, in the background, YouTube Studio looked at the audio and created subtitles for me without me asking it to do it. I like that. Now we get to this very interesting thing called add an end screen. And this is what all that other work was about in making the very last page have a bunch of blank space on it. Now, if there was stuff in the end screen that provided the elements of the end screen, clickable items, then we could import them from the video. I have not done that, but I might want to add them manually. So I'm going to hit the add button here. In other views of YouTube Studio, this whole thing is presented as part of the larger background screen, and as a consequence, there's a lot of, shall we say, clipped information, and these things about add an element. There are various kinds of elements, and they give you clues to what they are. You could add elements from the very last video that you uploaded, or you might have links to the last 2 videos you uploaded, or videos you could select, or you could have a link to a video somewhere in the playlist series, and you could identify the playlist. And they give you sort of a style option where you want to put these 2 things on the screen, whether it be in the middle here or whether it be on top. Or I could have a button for the next video in sequence, a playlist to look at, and this little round circle represents the picture of your account picture, me up here, for example, for doing subscribe. Or we can rearrange these boxes so that they're over here. So we can add elements to the end screen. An element can be a link to a video, basically a link to a playlist, and a button for subscribe. And more than that, they give us an option of kind of where do we want the end screen to be. It makes a little bit sense that it's out here. It ought to be out near the end of the video. Now notice that as I move the time cursor around, well, it's not showing it to me now, but it's now in the area of the last page. Now you can also tell from this thing, this is almost like the video content of the timeline in ClipChamp. You can see this corresponds to stuff in second page. This corresponds stuff into the final page. And this is the audio that goes with the final page. And the way this goes is that we have the ability to place these elements in the static display page at pretty much wherever we want, with a few restrictions. Okay, there has to be sufficient amount of time for the end screen thing to be shown. So I'm going to notice that this thing is 1 minute long, 1 minute 4 seconds and 9/10. 4 seconds is kind of fast to go by. Let's see if we can crank this back to about the middle, first part of last page, second part of last page, and we'll say, let's start putting the elements here. So when the video is played, it'll get to the last page. The effective display picture audio cursor will advance to this section, just showing the page that I've shown to you so far. And then we'll get here, and then it'll start to lay up the elements of whether we want to do a video playlist to subscribe from this point on. And so I'm going to pick the style, so to speak, of this. And you notice that as I pick that, it auto-placed where it thought I wanted to have these clickable things appear. Now, they're not where I want them, of course, but I can move it around. And we're back down here, having loaded the elements. He kind of ignored where I wanted to start them. So I'm going to re-bring these things back to here. And now you get to click on each element to decide where it should be placed. So best video to see next is what that's about. And notice the stuff over here. I want to have these things pop on the screen at about the 55 a second part of the display. And that's where this guy comes in. So I'm going to change this by editing it to be 0:55. Now it just says colon, it should say period, but, and you'll notice that in this little work area here, it says video for view will show up at this time slot during the presentation of the video. Now I haven't specified which video I want. They give me an option, the most recently uploaded video, not this one, a video that the YouTube studio may have picked, or one that I want in particular. Now, at the moment, I don't have the video that's next that I truly want to see. So what I'm going to do is, we'll select my Poems to Vivian. Text video is the video to see. Subscribe button. Let's have subscribe button start, say, about right here. So that'd be 5621. I'm going to move that around a bit. Playlist. Let's have playlist, say, pop up about right here. So it's 5710. Now we get an issue of what's essentially crowding. Notice this little red bar right here. This is saying that the content of this graphic and this graphic touch each other, and that's a no-no. Now let's see if we can fix that. Let's say I move my graphic a little bit above, up into the corner. Now the graphics don't touch on each other. Let me position this graphic a little bit more over here, and this graphic kind of on the same level. Here's an interesting thing. Notice these little buttons. Let's see if I can now. It allows me to extend it. It doesn't allow me to shrink it where I want to. In any case, I think that this will do. It doesn't really matter that these particular boxes of what's going to be essentially pictures overlays this very last line of text I've got down here. So it's still, this is the playlist to go look at, and this button here allows me to select which playlist I want that clickable thing to refer to. And later on, I'm going to add more stuff into this YouTube High playlist. So I'm going to select this playlist as a suggested next playlist to look at. It doesn't have to be the same playlist that the video is in. It could be any of the playlists in my collections of the playlists. So to review again here, we're now at the what's called the end screen, or I would call it last page of the video. There's a thing here for subscribing. playlist to go look at if someone's interested, a particular video to look at that could be in this playlist, or in this case happens to be in a completely different playlist. Later on, when I actually finish doing this tutorial, I'll put it into the same playlist and I'll change this guy to be this tutorial. So now I've finished arranging my elements on in the screen. I'm happy with how it looks. I'm going to do save.
Step 6a, using end screen for Hello World YT.mp4. YouTube end screens are about being an active YouTube content creator where you as the creator have a collection of playlists, in addition to posts, and a video you create and upload to YouTube is part of a larger set of videos. You want each of your videos to forward a viewer to some next video in a sequence or to look at a different playlist, and most of all to have a viewer subscribe to your channel, if they are not already a subscriber. Having an end screen supports you in placing clickable content at the end of your video, which achieves these desires of being a content creator. In this tutorial, the Hello World YT.mp4 has room at the end for the links. Full screen videos have lots of content space for the image links. The tutorial 3-page video at 8.5 x 6 inches has less. YouTube Studio supports several kinds of link elements. You can have all 3 or more, or just 1 or 2 end screen links. Each link looks like a picture that you position on the last page of the video, hopefully in a place in the display window that does not overlay interesting content on the last page. In the tutorial video, I have arranged the last page to have empty space where you can position the image links. Think of the image links as text_links which have URL path selections positioned and hidden underneath the link. See my verbal commentary on the tricks and issues involved in creating an end screen for your video.
And so I could do a thing called cards. They're kind of like end screen things. They're a way of having a little piece of information flash up, generally up in the right hand top corner of the video, that alerts someone to say, at this point in the video, there's an index card of a sort to some other thing that you might want to go look at. I'm not going to do that right now. So we've done details, video elements on end screen. We haven't done checks yet. So we're going to do that now by clicking next. Actually, it already did checks for me. It says it didn't find any issues. Now at the context, this place called visibility, and this is where the videos can be marked as private, unlisted, or public. In this case, I want public. Now, there are people on YouTube who seek to make monetization by giving you advice on how to make your YouTube's channel grow. I'm not in that mode right now. Some people I've seen have said what I ought to do now is click unlisted and let it stay unlisted for a day or two and then go back to public. I don't think that's particularly appropriate for me right now, so I'm just going to leave it as public. And now I'm pretty much done. So I'm going to say publish the video. And it's there. And this very, very last page here, YouTube Studio gives us the ability to click on one of these things here as a way of putting a post on some social media site that says, I have created this video on YouTube, and here's how, and lo and behold, you can get to it by clicking this link. Again, right now this is the actual file name, so to speak, in the internet of where this little 3-page video of about 1 minute and 5 seconds lives. So I'm not going to do any social media stuff. I'm just going to click. So we're now back in YouTube Studio on what's called the content view. This is the video I just created. You notice these are going back in time dates. And I have already uploaded a ton of stuff. This one here is for my cousin Tim, and I've marked it as unlisted. And I gave him the URL path to get to it so he can see it. It's basically my first attempt at doing this particular tutorial attempt that I had a really disastrous experience with. Again, here's another version of the thing that we just created. You can tell by looking at some of the content that it's the case. And then a whole bunch of other videos. And right now I'm almost pretty much done. If you hover over the video, you'll see some little selections and things called details, analytics, which is about how often it's been seen, if not. Stuff about other comments by other people to it. But the important guy at the moment, particularly if you're doing unlisted here rather than public, is to get a hold of the URL in case you didn't copy it down. And this is how you get back to that URL. If I do a left click on that, it will play the video. Again, I don't want to do that because of the echo issues. If I do a right click on it, Windows allows me to copy the link address onto not the desktop, but into the place where selectable stuff goes, and I can't remember the name of it at the moment. But I could now, for example, say go off to Gmail and send an email to my cousin or someone else with this and unlisted public to say, I just created another video. And then, of course, there's other things we could do it to it forever. But right now, I'm just sort of happy with getting this part done. And what I need to do now is to take this Loom desktop recording of all that I've done here, turn it into an MP4 video, download it to my computer, and do this whole thing all over again. Only now I'll have a video that has a picture in it, gobs and gobs of text, and I will intersperse pieces of this video in between those pages of text and produce a larger video that I'll then re-upload. So I'm going to minimize YouTube here for the moment. And let's sort of do a wrap up. Again, let's go back to the steps of doing things. We created a Microsoft Word document, made a PDF version of it, pulled out pages into graphic images of it, created audio from the text that was in the document, created an MP4 video with ClipChamp. It's now been uploaded to YouTube and published. And so this step is done. So I thank you all for being hopefully attentive. a lot of material here. I'm not trying to minimize that. There's just a ton of steps involved in making this thing. It is not a simple process by any means. I do not know of a simpler process. The issue here being, well, someone might ask the question, well, why isn't there one smart program that does everything, such as document editing, speech to text, text to speech, video editing, uploading, all those steps they have in that the Word document I just showed you. And the answer is, it's because they are all different. They're all products from different companies. They're not all Microsoft. They're not all some AI company. There's just lots of different tools. So I think I'm done here, and I hope you enjoy all this stuff, and see you later.
Yes, there is lots of work here. But keep edit and rewatch this video for help. This is the last line: like, subscribe, comment and share.